quiz review, we're looking at rounding to the nearest 10. And on this one, we're counting by tens from 200 to 300. So 210, 220, 230, and 240. So the dot is between 240 and 250. Sorry, 240 and 250. So these are endpoints when we're rounding to the nearest 10. The midpoint would be 245. So this number, or this dot, is below or to the left of the middle. So that means it rounds down to 240. Now on the next one, it says round to the nearest 100. In this case, the midpoint is 250, and the dot is to the left of 250, so it rounds down to 200. Looking at that as a vertical number line, we have 200, 300, the midpoint is 250, and our dot is below, so it rounds down to 200. Now we're going to go to number 5, and this one can be a challenge. What is the smallest number that rounds to 540 when rounding to the nearest 10? So the smallest number that rounds to 240, or 540, I'm sorry. So a lot of times what people will do here is they'll look at only these because they're on the 540 side. But we have to remember that numbers also round up. So if we're looking at 540 and we're saying, what's the smallest number that rounds to 540? Well, then we're saying 530 to 540. So some of the 530s will round to 540. And we know that from the midpoint up, they will all round up. So in this case, 535 rounds up to 540. Now, if you tried to go down to 534, 534 would round down because it's below the midpoint. So 534 would be wrong because it does not round to 540. So the smallest number that rounds to 540 is 535. That's a challenge question, that one. And then finally, the last question on today's review is number 6, and it says round to the nearest 10 and then add. So we are adding, but we're rounding these to the nearest 10. So we have 283, and we look at that, how many 10s are there? So a 10 has a 1 0 in it, so there's 28 10s. So when we look at this, we're saying 28 10s. What's the next one? 29 10s, which is 290. The midpoint, 285, and 283 is below. And since it's below, at the midpoint, it goes down to 280. 345 is 34 10s, so 345 is 34 10s. 34 10s, 35 10s. The midpoint, 345. 345 rounds up because it's the midpoint. Midpoints always go up, so 350. So now just stacking these up, we have 280 plus 350. I like to tell the students to block out their place values, 0 plus 0. Now 8 plus 5 is 13, so the 1 goes into the hundreds place. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 1 more is 6, and our answer is 630. And that's the final question on the in-class review. Make sure you complete your home review so you get your extra credit. Let's go.